Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today we'll talk about some important topics, some weird things that are happening in USCIS in terms of case statuses. Then we'll talk about some visa appointments that were cancelled by the consulates. We'll talk about the alien registration requirement for anybody living in the United States for 30 days or longer, or anybody who is a non-citizen coming into the United States. Then we'll talk about the dreaded case remains pending status and what does that mean and what can you do about it. What is the processing time if your date becomes current finally in the final action chart? Is USCIS picking up your case quickly or what's happening? We'll talk about the travel ban for 43 countries and what may be the implications for EB-based immigration, whether it will be positive, negative or nothing. Then we'll talk about some stamping concerns. There are real concerns that are going in the consulates for people who are going to stamping. We'll talk about the notice to appear. NTAs are becoming more and more common. We'll talk about the choice between H1 and L1 if you have while trying to come to United States. And finally, we'll talk about the H1B lottery. So a lot of packed content, guys. Watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now check out the links in the description because there are some new links, especially with the Ultra Human Ring. You'll get 10% discount if you use the code in the description. Now this ring I have been wearing for a long time and it has changed my life. The biggest thing I like about this ring is sleep tracking. It gives me insights into how I slept and why I slept the way I did, depending on what my previous day looked like. And the best of all, it does not have any subscription model. Ultrahuman was kind enough to send me this ring and provide me a affiliate link or the code Mandar, which you can add when you are checking out while buying the ring and you will get 10% discount. So check out. Also, before moving ahead, Happy Gudi Padwa and Happy Ugadi to whoever is celebrating it. It's the start of the new year and wish you a healthy, happy and prosperous new year. Now with that said, let's jump into our first topic today. Now several people have been contacting me regarding weird statuses for EAD and AP. Now as it is EAD and APs, I'm talking specifically about the green card EADs that also applies to H4 EADs. They are taking longer and longer. In the past several years back, it used to take only 3 to 4 months to get your EAD in your hand, also AP. But nowadays it's taking much longer. The first EAD kind of comes a little early, say 4 to 5 months. But when you are going for a renewal, the renewal is taking way too longer. It's taking anywhere between 6 months to a year. I have had some people come to me saying they are on the verge of losing their job because of the EAD. Now you got to remember one thing, as long as you have applied for an EAD extension 6 months before the expiry, you have an automatic extension for 1.5 years. It's almost 540 days from the expiry of your current EAD card. So that is a great boon, but that doesn't mean you're off the hook. You still want to pursue that extension in the right time, which is 6 months before your current EAD card expires. So keep that in mind. So that way you don't have to worry about expiring because you have 1.5 years within which your extension will surely come in. Now AP is a different story. AP is taking way too longer. If you are solely depending on advanced payroll to travel, you need to make sure that you expedite it and get it in your hand. If you don't have an underlying H1 or L1 visa stamped on your passport and you are relying solely on your advanced payroll to come back, make sure you get it in hand. There are ways to expedite the AP. I have helped many individuals how to expedite it with reasonable accommodations. Now in some cases, some people have reported that they have got their APs and they have had their status updated as denied or revoked. Now how can this happen? Now this can be a funny thing because you get your AP, you go to India or somewhere else and come back in the United States and still be able to enter it. But when you come back, you will see that status has been denied. So my answer to this is, as long as you have a valid advanced payroll document in your hand, which has a valid date, expiry date in the future, say 5 years, you should be good. You should not be worried about that status online. That can be a human error, manual error when they are changing the status, which surely should not happen, but it's happening.
And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever done the Google search of your own name? Look what I have found when I did mine. Here's what comes up. While some of this information is relevant, the other makes me uncomfortable that my information is exposed for a sale like this. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else who may want to target you. Your full name, email address, home address, your relatives' names, health information, it's all out there. That's why I have been using Aura, sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out request for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura does so much more to protect my information and my family's information from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything for one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving your back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to my link which is on the screen and in the description and start your free 2 weeks trial. So protect your information, your family, and have a peace of mind. That's Aura.
So some people said that, do I need to apply for another AP or do an inquiry? Yes, you can do an inquiry, but that is not going to help enough. The visa officer is just going to say that the status has been incorrectly applied, your AP is valid. So that's that. Now there was a news couple of days back that visa fraud crackdowns US canceled 2000 bot booked appointments. Now how did this happen? As it is, you can see if you go for stamping in India or somewhere else, you will find that the stamping dates are way out. They are like 7-8 months. I have heard even year or longer, especially in the Chennai consulates and Hyderabad consulates. Now there are agencies who will continuously look for an earlier appointment for you for a fee, which might be worthwhile checking out, but you could do it yourself as well. But who is going to sit there and try to refresh it at 4 o'clock in the morning every day to get that earlier appointment? So it's kind of incredibly painful. Now to add to that, some over smart agencies or agents sitting in India have generated bots to kind of try to refresh and book earlier appointments. Now what that had ended up doing is incorrectly booked appointments. So appointments that were not booked by physical person. So 2000s of such appointments were cancelled by consulates. As you can see, these bots have forced many applicants to pay agents around 30 to 35,000 per person to secure timely appointments for their planned visit. Effective immediately, we are cancelling these appointments and suspending the associated accounts scheduled privilege. Point of this is, although it's incredibly painful to get these appointments in India, don't go through these services who use bots to book appointments. Because even after paying 30 to 35,000 rupees to them, you might risk of losing that appointment. So keep that in mind. Now the next topic is alien registration requirement. Now as you can see here, on January 20th, President Trump issued Executive Order 14159 protecting the American people against invasion, which directed the Department of Homeland Security to ensure that aliens comply with their duty to register with government under the Section 262. INA Act, and failure to comply with the registration requirement is treated as civil and criminal enforcement priority. So what does this mean? Let's read a little further. It says INA requires that with limited exceptions, all aliens 14 years of age or older who were not registered, fingerprinted when applying for a visa, US visa, and who remain in the United States for 30 days or longer must apply for registration and fingerprinting. Similarly, parents and legal guardians of aliens below the age of 14 must ensure that those aliens are registered within 30 days of reaching his or her 40th birthday. All previously registered aliens must apply for re-registration to be fingerprint. This is important. And here's the difficult part. Once an alien's registration had registered and appeared for his fingerprint, DHS will issue evidence of registration which aliens over the age of 18 must carry and keep in their personal possession at all times, which is weird. Now this applies to people who were not fingerprinted and not registered at the time of visa. if you plan to stay beyond 30 days. For those countries who are carrying passports such as Canada, now Canada had a special privilege until recently when they did not have to produce any evidence except their passport to live in the United States for up to 180 days. So almost 6 months. But that is changing. Now Canadians who are traveling to the United States beyond and wanting to live for beyond 30 days, they will have to register as well. Important things to remember is registration is not an immigrant status. So even if you are a DACA recipient or here illegally, and if you register, it will not provide you a stamp of approval to remain in the United States. It just means that USCIS knows that you are here for more than 30 days. That's all it means. You still need to have a valid visa, valid green card, or authorization to stay in certain ways such as pending adjustment of status to live in the United States beyond 30 days. So keep that in mind. That's the way I interpret it. Put down in the comment section below if you have specific questions regarding alien registration requirement, and I will try to answer that. Now, before we go forward, if you need to contact me or talk to me, make sure you book an appointment with me through Calendly. I get inundated with calls on a regular basis. The only way I can field those is book a time slot for me to talk to people. So find the link to the calendar in the description below, and that will be my non-legal advice based on the information that I have been getting through talking to people through several years. What I will tell you is what I would do if I were in your situation. Now the next point, case remains pending. Now this is a dreaded status that many people get stuck with for years and years. What does this really mean? The quick answer what this means is that your priority date is not current in the final action chart and there is no visa availability for you. That's all it means. So if you had your green card petition pending, if your final filing date chart was current and you applied for your 485 and then the dates retrogressed, that means that your date no longer is current and you will have to wait for your date to become current, and until such time your case will remain pending. That's all it means. Now the weird thing is, even after the date becomes current, for some people this status has not changed. Now all it means is that there is nothing like an alarm or bell that rings off to the USCIS officer when your date becomes current in the final action chart. Nothing of such exist, unfortunately. So you just have to wait until somebody picks up your case, even after your date becomes current in final action chart. Now final action chart is when you actually have a visa number available, but case remains pending until somebody picks up your case and changes that status. So now you have to start pinging USCIS, making sure that you draw attention to your case in several different ways. Your medical could be expired, you could submit that proactively, you could inquire through senator and congressman, you could submit a service request, you try to expedite your EAD AP, and so on. There are so many ways that you can do to ping USCIS or nudge USCIS to pick up your case. Only then your case status will change. So this is a very common question that I thought I would cover. Why is my case still showing case remains pending when my final action date is current? Put down in the comment section below if you have more questions on it, or contact me on Calendly and I'll be happy to help. Now some people ask me, are inquiries through senators and congressmen really effective? In my opinion, they are effective because I have seen cases getting approved within a week or two after the Senate inquiry. Now this is not in 100% of the situation, but I would say about 50 to 60%. Now next topic, travel ban. Okay, so 43 countries have been identified for travel ban by the administration. Now they fall into three categories: red category, orange category, and yellow category. Now there are certain countries in the red category, all travel banned from these countries. So what does red mean? Red means all travel is banned from this country. So this red category includes Afghanistan, Bhutan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. So all travel, if you are traveling from this country, it will be banned. Now it isn't clear that if you have a visa, will that still be banned? I'm assuming it does mean that as well. So if you are traveling from these countries, you will be totally banned from entering the United States. So it will also mean, probably in my opinion, based on what happened last time, is they will stop giving visas at the consulates. So basically, immigrants and non-immigrant visa. So now this is what I was talking about in the past. When these travel bans occur, the visa issuance, especially the immigrant visa issuance at the borders, at the consulates, will start dropping, and those numbers will become continue to become available for the employment based section in the subsequent year. But I will come to that in a moment. Let's try to look at the orange list. These countries visas are extremely restricted: Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, Pakistan, Russia, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, Turkmenistan. These are the orange countries. These countries' visas are extremely restricted, so you may not get a new visa if you are outside of the country. Now, the yellow countries are Angola, Antigua, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Dominica, Ecuador, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome and Principe, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. These countries have 60 days to address any concerns. So I don't know what that means. It is not fully understood what this yellow list means. But regardless, India is not on that list. So if you have a visa, or if you are going to stamp the visa in India or Indian consulates, you'll still continue to get that visa. Now let's come back to what will happen with these reduced number of visas to these countries. If the consulates are giving out lesser and lesser immigrant visas to many countries, those numbers will become available for other countries to use. So if there is a demand from other countries such as India, Mexico, Philippines, they will start their dates in a final action chart will start moving fast forward. So remember in the chart, the countries that are backlogged: China, India, Mexico, and Philippines. None of those countries are on this list. So if these visas are not given to these countries, these will all go to those backlog countries. So the family-based final action chart will continue to move forward faster. Now, what I have seen in the last visa bulletin, in April visa bulletin, is family-based dates are moving faster. That means they are using up those visa numbers. So it's not like consulates are shut down like last time in COVID. Consulates will remain open. These countries will get lesser visas, but the remaining countries, backlog countries, will get more visas and their dates will progress. Essentially, the bottom line is EB category will not benefit from any spillover due to this travel ban, is my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. I think these will be these unused visa numbers from these specific countries will be used by backlog countries within the family section. That is my opinion. Now, stamping concerns. Many people are going to India to get their visa stamp and getting stuck. Now, first problem is the appointments. Appointments are way out. Unless you have an appointment, don't travel outside of the United States. And this applies for a lot of people, including students. If you don't have a visa to come back to, don't travel outside of the country. Now make sure while we are within the country, you continue to extend your visas and be in status, because if you don't, that will come back to haunt you in the future. Now, talking about stamping, one thing to remember is take an appointment and then go. If you don't have an appointment, don't rely on those agents to get you an earlier appointment and just leave and be in India. Go only after you get a solid appointment confirmation letter. Now, once you go there, apply with all the documentation. Don't miss out any documentation. Don't miss out any information on DS 160 form. I have made a special video on it. What are the different slips that you can get for administrative processing? These are mostly in your control, so don't fall into that trap. If you have a Dropbox appointment or if you have a physical appointment, detail appointment, remember you need to fill out every form in every detail. Do not miss out any information. That will reduce the chances of your administrative processing. Once you get your passport back, you should not worry about coming back with your valid stamp. 99% of the people will not have any issue coming back on a valid visa stamp. The only people who will have issue are the people who have legitimate issues. If you have some condition that will make you removable from the country, such as DUI, such as arrest warrant, such as ties with the terrorist organization, and so on. You know in your heart if you have a problem in your case. चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका, ये एक कहावत है. That is true for coming back on a visa. So 99.9% of the people will have no issue coming back because you have no problem in your case. But there will be certain percentage of people who have multiple DUIs, multiple domestic violences, arrest warrants, those sort of things, or ties to some countries that are on the blacklist of the United States. So if you fall in those categories, you have things to worry about. If you are in the United States, don't leave out. If you come back, you be prepared to answer some additional questions. Now that leads me into my next topic, NTA. Nowadays I'm seeing more and more of people reporting NTAs. What this means is if you apply for any visa or any extension, if USCIS has ground declining your visa, they will generally give you an RFE, an opportunity to correct your case. But I have seen some people getting NTA, suddenly put you into the removal proceeding. Now these are very far and few between, but they do happen. And why do they happen? Because there is some problem with your case, because you have overstayed your visa, because you have not extended on time, you have incurred unlawful presence in the United States, and so on. There could be a number of reasons why this could happen. Fraud and misrepresentation is one of the main reasons that this NTA could happen, notice to appear. Notice to appear is really, they are ready to decline you, they are ready to report you. So they are referring you to an immigration judge. That's what it means. It's very, very few people, but if you are one of those, seek a good lawyer and get some help. Now there is a big fear in people's mind. Are green card holders at risk of losing their green card? And the answer is no. There is no reason for anybody to fear, if you are on green card, to lose your green card or permanent resident status. Now this is very, very rare scenario where US government will come after you for a specific reasons. Now there are a lot of instances in the news that you can see some students being penalized or even revoked of their green cards and visas and student visas and so on. But those are for specific reasons. If you don't fall in that category, you have nothing to worry about. Now two more things and then I will close. H1B versus L1. Now this is a common question that has come lately. Now people from US or people from abroad who are working for multinational companies and who are wanting to come to the United States, their companies are letting them come on L1, blanket L1. Now if you are coming on L1A, remember that if you lose a job in the United States while on L1A, you will not have many options to remain. You may be able to transfer your visa to visitor visa or business visa or B1, B2 and something like that, but that is a very hard road. So if you have a choice to come on H1, that should be your preference. Get through the lottery and get your H1 because H1 is much more flexible. It allows you to do H1 transfer and remain in the United States when you change your employer or when you get laid off. So that would be my preference. Between L1A and H1, H1 should always be your preference. Now L1 is only meaningful if the company is willing to do your EB1C, because L1A conditions are similar to EB1C, while EB1C is still a little bit stringent, but you still have some of the conditions fulfilled through L1A. So that is the only possible scenario that I can see when you would prefer L1A or L1B, and your spouses can also work, unlike on H1. Now the last point, H1B lottery is happening right now. If you haven't submitted your application, submit it right away. It's a $10 application fee with minimum information. You'll get your result whether you get picked up in the lottery in the next couple of days, and then you'll have from April 1st to end of June to submit your full application if you are picked up. This is just a reminder for people who are on student visa and who are ending their EAD or OPT period. Find an employer to submit your petition. Make sure that you don't submit duplicate petitions or multiple petitions. That is the only thing that I would suggest. Now, check out the links in the description for EB1A Masterclass. I am continuing to do that. I'll have the next one coming up in a month or so. Also, if you have questions for me, hit me up on Calendly, set up 30 minutes with me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. If you like the content of this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, because I will continue to do my giveaways. The next giveaway will be end of April, and I'll see you in the next one.